Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner with us today. Something unique about my guest is he's determined to learn something new every day and create change with that learning. To escape and recharge, he likes to watch movies, and he's most proud of creating a brand that people love. It's my pleasure to welcome John to the show today. Hi, John.
Hello, glad to be here.
Well, hey, I'm excited to hear your story. Let's start with having you introduce yourself, tell us your full name, and a little bit of your personal story, like where you were born and live and about your family.
Well, my name's John Wiley. I was born in Kittery, Maine, because my dad was in the Air Force, but then we moved to Indiana, mostly Shelbyville area, and that's where I was raised, a little town called Shelbyville, Indiana. I used to always like to tell people I was raised in the poor part of Shelbyville, Indiana, but then I realized that's almost every side. So, yeah, it's just Shelbyville. It's just a little town. But went all through all my years of school there. I'm not college educated. I graduated in 1979. So uh, everything I've had to learn after that, I just really believe in the fact that we have access to a ton of information and that we can learn
Yeah,
as much as we want or anything that we want if we discipline ourselves to do it.
yeah, yeah. And what about your family?
Um, my family, kind of a small family. I had parents and a brother growing up. Mom has since passed away, and dad is in his 80s and living life to the fullest. So I think he's got a real good attitude about everything and just trying to make sure that he stays robust. And he's the type of person that's always interested in fiddling around with things. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, so he keeps himself busy.
Yeah, fantastic. And I
Oh, and I
believe you're
have
married.
kids. I
Okay.
do have kids.
Yeah.
I love, I've always loved being a dad.
Mm.
So uh, I've got a son and a daughter that I've raised. Um, the son is 24 and he works at Roblox out at headquarters in California. We just moved him out there this year. He'll be coming back for a visit. And I have a daughter that's getting ready to turn 20. And she's graduated, of course, from high school, but she's doing some school at Ivy Tech. And then
Uh-huh.
I've been trying to get her a little interested in the family business,
Yeah.
although neither of my kids really were that interested in it. And I'm like, there could be things that could help you make a living, at least use it as a backup plan.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And then, of course, I've got a wife named April, and she actually runs the nuts and bolts of the day-to-day operation. I'm more of a dreamer.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking of creative things, or I hyper focus on projects, and I take project after project after project.
Yeah.
But that also means in my personality profile, I'm one of those people that gets lost instead of
Mhm.
doing what he's supposed to be doing. And
Squirrel?
so where I rate very low on are things that are tedious and, like, to me, boring. It's just
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah.
She excels at those things. So we've been together about 13 years, and it didn't take me long to realize she would be better at running the schedule, the people, et cetera, and
Yeah.
working with the customers. And the end goal for a company is you want to provide the very best possible experience for your customers, but it has to be consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So I find ways to provide better experiences, but she and the team are really the ones that make it consistent.
that's awesome. So, John, is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share?
Well, they don't think I'm as funny as I think I am sometimes. I'm very much a goofball, and I find humor in just the daily life things.
Uh-huh.
So I couldn't tell a joke if you had a gun to my head. I would tell it backwards, and I can't do that.
Uh-huh.
Very much a ready, fire, aim kind of personality. But I do find humor in just the everyday life
Yeah,
with my kids and
good for
with
you.
my team that works here. they're all pretty smart and funny too. So it's like everybody kind of feels comfortable to play off each other.
Yeah.
And I think my kids sometimes are just trying to figure out who dad really is now that they're adults.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Very cool. So, John, how'd the business come about? And at what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
That was a interesting question. I was looking at that and I was thinking, I think I started out with confidence that I could run it. And then when I started failing, that changed my mind.
Sure.
I think I started out thinking, wow. So I graduated in 79 and I have a work ethic because my dad started a carpet cleaning business
Okay.
and janitorial business at night. So ever since I've been 13, I've had to work
Hmm.
at 5 p.m. You go to work
Yeah.
offices and start emptying trash cans
Yeah.
and you go through your routines and you do the work. And then carpet cleaning started out with a little machine where we carried 5-gallon buckets, and I was just I think they weighed as much as I did. I had to set them down every now and then to get them to the carpet cleaning machine.
Yeah.
But that I think is where we get our work ethic is how that's inculcated in us when we're young.
Okay. Yeah.
And of course, we were able to make a little extra money and buy
Sure.
bicycles, and then we bought cars. And
Yeah.
I used to joke that I cleaned 20 toilets a night and bought a Trans Am, you know. And
So that how'd that lead you to where you are now?
well, I left the family business when I was about 20 because I got married,
Hmm.
the first one. I was young and got married. I actually got married when I was 19 and a half. So
Okay.
yeah, that we'll just put that under what were you thinking? And part of it is that I was always so serious about everything. I
Mhm.
wanted to start the relationship, the family, the job, get my own place to live, be independent.
Yeah.
I was so serious about all of that. And I look at 19-year-olds now and I could just, if I had a time machine, I would have kicked myself in the rear end so hard I'd still be sore. So, but that did open an opportunity for me when I moved down towards the Madison, Indiana area, which is, we actually lived in Hanover, Indiana. And my brother-in-law was working for a company and he got me a job working for a company called Trimline, which 3M owned.
Okay.
Uh, but they were independent, almost like a franchise, but it's more of a license arrangement.
Okay. Sure.
And I got paid 150 bucks a week for 6 weeks to learn how to pinstripe cars with tape. Everybody asked me if I did paint. Nope, I'm not really an artist. Uh, but I did have to learn very fast how to sell to new and used car
Hmm.
dealerships, which some of those are still friends today, and some of
Yeah.
them I really respected. But boy,
Yeah.
you talk about being put through the meat grinder. When you're a 20-year-old kid walking in and you're trying to sell them pinstripes.
Sure.
We did rivet on body side moldings back then. So uh, that was in the southern Indiana area. And I kept taking on more and more territory because I could open up those dealerships and get the
Okay.
work done. But then I would hire people under me to do the work.
Yeah.
So I would help do the work and sell it. And then eventually I was just selling it.
Hmm.
And I think I was, looking back, I was probably better at being a salesman than a manager.
Okay.
And I think that looking back at things I've struggled with in life that I tried to learn how to get better at.
Yeah.
And uh, that went on pretty good until about 1988. And the owner of the company just basically took it all away from me.
Mm.
And that was a bittersweet pill.
Yeah.
But he started another company that was selling the equipment to sign shops and graphic shops. So back then it was real popular, the Heartbeat of America, and you
Sure.
had to order those things. Well, now all we had to do is put vinyl in a machine and the cutter would cut those shapes out, weed it,
Right.
mask it. And now we had those things to put on. So around 85, our company bought one of those and we were so excited about it. But then other companies like us wanted them too. So he started a company that allowed me to sell that equipment.
Okay.
So I sold it, traveled across the United States, all over the United States, with very little exception. And I would sell it by going to trade shows, etc. Then I would go deliver the equipment to them and give them a 2-day training, get the lease contract signed off for payment, and then drive back home. So from 88 to 95, I traveled and I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. And then one day I didn't.
Hmm.
I got tired of living 2 weeks out of the month in a suitcase,
Yeah.
and uh, uh, I got a little road weary, but I had plenty of experience with that. And then I left his employ and started my own company doing fleet graphics because
Yeah.
in the 80s, people were having, lettering painted on their trucks
Right.
because, it's either you mail order die stamped letters, but then now that we can cut it ourselves,
Yeah.
I was teaching other people how to do it. And I said, okay, everybody's got a machine now. The market got saturated. Now it's time for me to just start my own business doing what they're doing.
Yeah. Very cool.
So I really felt like I had all the answers,
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell us about more
but I
about the
didn't.
company. Yeah, we'll get into that here in a minute. So tell us, John, about the company. What, um, tell the name. What do you guys do? How do you help folks?
So we started our company in 95, about January 1995. So now we're just past the 30-year mark, going on to 31. And we uh, started it as Dream Street Graphics.
Okay.
And I knew we were going to do vehicle graphics, but I didn't really know how I was going to get customers. So one of my biggest mistakes looking back, because I want to share those things with people, that I made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And one of those was I wanted to start my own company so bad that I was really a technician in my field because I knew how to make graphics and I already knew how to install them because
Sure.
I'd been around vinyl since 82
Yeah.
and loved 3M vinyl, and I could do all kinds of stuff with it. Well, people would say, okay, you're starting your own company, but how are you going to get customers?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'll worry about that later.
Yeah.
And then later came, I got my business and I quit my job and I'm like, okay, now how am I going to get customers?
Yeah.
So that's when I really learned to appreciate the power of marketing and how important marketing is to your company. In
Yes.
fact, for a lot of companies, it may be the most important job you do. It may be more important than how well you do your technical job.
Yeah. For sure. Yes. Because if
And I
nobody shows
struggled.
up, it doesn't matter how great you
Yeah,
are, right?
I struggled with that for years until I came across a book called E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber.
Yep. Awesome.
And that changed my perspective. And whenever people are starting a business, I tell them I know it's old, but you can read it in 3 hours and go get a paperback version. You could even get a used version or something,
Sure.
but or
Yeah.
now it's digital. But make yourself read that book and understand, uh, you know, how to break a business down and how to look at it and how to organize it.
Yeah. So
And
let's come back to your
okay,
business. What's the name now? I know you've changed it and just
yeah,
an overview of what do you guys do?
it is Don't Drive Naked. And I had come up with the idea in 2000 at a network meeting. I'd done a ton of networking since 2000. And that was when I moved to the south side of Indy. And I met a neighbor, and the lady said, hey, do you go to any network meetings or anything? I said, didn't know that existed. You can imagine for 5 years.
Yeah.
I'd never been to a chamber meeting.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were weekly network meetings. Uh, we laugh about not knowing the things we don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, I hope we're laughing through the pain because it's very painful when you realize that you could have been doing that all along.
Right?
And so my very first one was BNI,
Mhm.
and I joined a BNI meeting. I went to it as a guest, joined it right away. And you have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to be there at 7,
Yeah.
which I felt like was terrible because I'm more of a night owl type personality. Or I used to be. I don't, not anymore, because I got old. But they were working one time on taglines,
Mm.
and it was coming around to me, and I started thinking about, why did I start this business? And the reason I started it was because I could tell that I had trained a lot of sign painters. They had the art and they knew how to space and draw letters. Now, I did not know how to do that, but when I was selling them the equipment, they felt like that was becoming a lost art.
Mm,
And I said, so you're right. It is becoming a lost art because you see people taking a line of text like this and just compressing it to where you can't read it. And then they just stick it next to the license plate on a van. And it's just all this
sure.
lettering and words. And all I know is I'm seeing vehicles that I don't want to read. I'm not interested in reading it. And if I was interested in reading it, I would need like 10 minutes at a traffic light to read it. So no motivation. So I think that kind of lends back to the things I enjoyed the most was selling.
Mm,
And those graphics don't sell anything
right.
to the prospective customers. If I feel that way, other people might feel that way too.
Sure.
So I was thinking about, well, you want to, best dress to make the best impression. Uh, but, if your vehicle has no graphics, you're naked. If it has crappy graphics, you might as well be naked.
Yeah.
And so I stood up and I started saying these things and I said, so don't drive naked. And I'm really notorious for putting my foot in my mouth. I'm like, I've had to bear that burden. So I sat down and there you could hear a pin drop. And I'm like, well, because how far is too far,
Sure. Sure.
And you never know whose feelings you're hurting. And I sat down, I thought, well, I've done it again, and my head was shaking and I was so nervous and I'm just like I felt like people in the whole room could see my head shaking on a stick, right? So it felt like a few seconds passed and then the whole room busted out in laughter. And then I didn't think much of it. I'm like, okay, that could be a good tagline. Dream Street Graphics, don't drive naked.
Yeah.
And then I started kind of toying around with it. And then it was like a couple years later that I didn't really do much with it. And I kept trying to use it as a tagline.
Yeah.
But I had gotten sidetracked into trying to sell more kinds of products to the customer base I have. So I was starting to dilute my brand.
Mm,
Uh, if I'm selling promotional items and offset printed products and vehicle graphics, I started thinking over the years that maybe I was a brand manager
okay. Sure.
and I would sell products. Well, then I put Don't Drive Naked a little bit more on the back seat because it didn't make sense. And uh, I didn't roll that out until later, but I had to learn some really hard lessons first. And that was that I was allowing myself because I felt like I was increasing revenue to grow my company, but I
Hmm.
was getting into all these different things. So the next authors I found were Jack Trout and Al Reese, and they wrote a book on positioning. Now they both passed away, and those books are old.
Yeah.
But it really woke me up because they would say, well, what do you think about this and this? I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. And they're like,
Sure.
no, it's terrible. And here's why it's terrible. And they discussed the burger wars, the cola wars, the
Yeah.
beer wars, uh, and how these big corporations did some things right, but they did a lot of things wrong.
Sure.
And they can count those in how many barrels of beer did it sell
Yeah.
at Bud sell, and then Bud Light started growing, and it seemed like a win because they were both selling a lot of barrels of beer. But then eventually Bud starts going down as Bud Light goes up. So it
Right.
basically cannibalized itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we start talking about brand extension, like my favorite candy bar is Snickers. But when they come out with a dark chocolate with almond and different, it's not a Snickers bar
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
They had the Snickers brand on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you've ever been in business long enough to have those crappy boxes of candy. They come in and they say, oh, it's an honor system. And it's all the candy that didn't make it.
Right. Yeah.
It's like the broken toys, in the kids movies. We
Yeah.
watch a lot of kids movies because I had kids and now we've got grandkids.
Yeah.
So
So John, what's been your biggest challenge and how'd you work through it?
the biggest challenge I think was learn that I had to learn to focus.
Mm,
And I started realizing that because I started reading marketing books and business books because I was in trouble.
Yeah.
And when I mean trouble, I mean you're working 12, 15-hour days. You keep thinking if I work more, work harder, work harder, work harder,
Yeah.
that it'll someday pay off. And it's a real hard pill to swallow when you realize that it's never going to,
Yeah.
that you're just going to kill yourself working.
Yeah.
And at best, you might be lucky, and at best, you might be paying the bills and keeping your eyeballs just above the waterline, but you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we had the financial crisis broke out at the end of 2008. And that's when I had already started shutting things down because the books I was reading said, don't sell all this other crap.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I did is I started shutting that down. But then what motivated me the most was 2008, November.
Mm.
I remember when the phone stopped ringing.
Mm.
And that was when we had the Lehman Brothers and we had the mortgages going sour. And
Right.
this
Yeah.
was if and it's like, wow, this is scary. So I started investigating. It's like my first thought is this is not going away fast.
Right.
No, there's no one thing the government can do to make this all just go away
Sure.
quickly. So
Yeah.
we're in for it, right?
Yeah.
And my phone stopped ringing, so I probably won't make it. So if I'm not going to make it, then I'm going to kill everything in the product line except for what I make myself, which was always vehicle graphics.
Okay.
I've always had the equipment. I've always had at least one designer that designed it and helped run the equipment,
Sure.
production to produce it, and I've always had an installer or two that helped me install it,
Yeah.
or they did most of it, however you want to look at it. And so that's when I took everything I'd learned for that 8 years
Yeah.
and I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. Kill everything off.
Yeah.
Any employees associated with those products, we're going to let them go. And we're going to have one designer, one installer, and one customer service.
Yeah.
And that's when I brought out Don't Drive Naked because now it made sense.
Okay.
Don't
Yeah.
Drive Naked is about vehicles not being naked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Contrary to popular opinion, it's not about the
Yeah.
driver.
I love it.
I have
Yeah.
to explain
Yeah.
that to people, but that's the joke. It because
Yeah.
I think everything's a joke in a way.
I love it. So,
It just I think it's not a terrible way to look at things. You just kind of got to laugh things off in life.
yeah.
And so that's when I rolled that out. And we were going to a big networking meeting once a month of a couple hundred people called Rainmakers back
Yeah.
in that day and age.
Yeah.
And so all through December, we were figuring out how we're going to do it. And I had a designer and I said, look, here's what I want. Naked has to be the biggest word, and we're going to have to put it next to a naked woman. The naked woman is to make it go viral because
Mm.
it's going to make people angry. It's going to make people laugh. It's going to make people take notice. But I
Yeah.
needed something to go viral because I'm broke.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do and I'm out here on the highway with this building with like a 15-second exposure, which is lucky, but no one ever even knew I was here because all of my marketing was so boring.
Sure.
I had to make an impression on the side of the building. Not one person could have told you what was on that building. They
Yeah.
never saw me. I even did put Don't Drive Naked on the building with no person. Nobody
Sure.
cared.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
second I put that on there, we started getting, I like to say that I wouldn't know if my marketing was working if I wasn't getting hate mail.
Yeah. So,
Because
John, what's
your
been,
potential buyers just,
yeah.
they're not going to buy. They don't need
Yeah,
anything.
fair. So you've mentioned a couple of books. I know you're an avid learner. So what's been your biggest learning as a business owner?
E-Myth Revisited flipped me upside down.
Mm.
And I think that in some way, shape, or form, that has to be because I'm sure you've read it and you're a coach.
Yep.
So I'm sure that you're trying to take people like me and wake us up to the fact that there has to be structure
Yeah.
that we just don't know, right?
Yep. Right. Yeah.
And that really woke me up. And then I realized I needed help with marketing all along because how am I going to get customers?
Sure.
And, I got fooled on some silly things like back when we'll build you a website and the domain and
Yeah.
for this many dollars and everything. And, we've got taken advantage of.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who bought, I don't know how many $100 of phone book covers.
Well, see, here's the crazy thing about marketing.
Dumb mistakes.
I think the famous stat is 80% of marketing fails. Unfortunately, we just don't know which 80%. So, on the flip side of that, every marketing strategy will work. That's why somebody's selling it because somebody
Mm,
else has bought it and it's worked, right? But
mhm,
the idea is that we have to make sure that we're looking at, right? Is it going to the right target, right? Is the headline gonna stop people in their tracks, right? Is the copy, talking about the problem or the solution that they're looking for and how we solve for, like there's a methodology.
mhm.
Probably read those books too, right? There's a methodology of how to do good marketing, and then you test and measure and you spend a little bit until you figure out whether it's working, and then once you know it's working, you scale up the investment. The challenge, the problem is what you just alluded were talking about, right? Is a lot of business owners are in more of a desperate mode of, oh crap, right? I need customers, and so I'm going to allow myself to be convinced to buy the silver bullet, and there is no
Mm,
silver bullet in marketing, right? It's
no.
it's it's all about having the right messages at the right time in the right place to the right audience, and consistency over time. And that's what makes good marketing.
I'd like to add to that. I really learned a lot. I think that took to heart was Seth Godin.
Mm,
His book, I think one of the first ones I read was The Purple Cow.
okay.
And I kind of feel like the sign on my building was had the effect of the purple cow, but that would be me missing the point of the book. That really wasn't the point of the book. His point is to provide remarkable service that's so remarkable that people talk about it.
Yeah. Right.
And
Yes.
I joke about it, but I got to clarify it because it makes it sound like I didn't get the point at all. But yeah, his, premise is you're driving down the road and there's cows everywhere, but your family sees a purple cow. You get out, you stop, you're going to take pictures of it, selfies with it. You're going to
Yeah,
talk about it to other people. So, but Seth Godin, really gets to the heart of marketing that it's more of a story that
yeah,
people tell about what their experience is like doing business with you.
yeah,
Over the years, I've read books like The Pursuit of Excellence and uh, Good to Great.
yeah, yeah,
Some about sticky marketing, but I've got a little mini library at home,
yeah.
and I can literally go pick any book off the shelf, open it up, and start reading it, and it's something I need to work on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess that means I got a lot of things to work on.
That's the journey of a business owner, right? It never stops. So to that point, John, as you think about the next year, what's your biggest priority that you still need to sort out?
I need to grow revenue for my business because this last year I've really focused on systems and processes.
Hmm.
I would say the last 2 years.
Yeah,
And I've come down with been lucky enough to get some really good hires, people I love working with that are talented and they've got a great attitude
that's awesome.
about uh, those things. So what scares me is when I see a person doing a great job, but I know it's all being done in their head. Because if they walked out the door, we would be
Oh yeah, because you don't
completely
have it written.
lost.
Yeah, the documentation and the
So I've asked them to
that's it.
help me
The
create
SOPs.
documentation,
Yeah,
and that can seem scary to the wrong people. They could be like, well, then why would they need me? It's like,
yeah,
well, we're still going to need you, trust me.
yeah.
Nobody wants to read the book and try to duplicate what you're doing.
Yes, yes, yes.
But we have worked hard on that, and I've tried to, I don't know. I some days I feel like I'm mentally lazy. Like you start thinking in terms of, do I really want to dig through that cabinet, find out what's in there? And you talk to yourself about it, and you're like, just do it. And
Yeah.
you open it up, and you're like, what is all this stuff? Oh, that's been there for 15 or 20 years. Well, we don't need it.
Yeah.
Um, but I've had this real joy of working with a great group of people for the last 2 years. And um, I would also want to tie that in with another lesson I've learned.
Mm,
ADP, I paid the extra money to have them help me write a handbook.
hmm.
And because we were having a couple problems.
Yeah.
And they said, John, you've been doing it wrong all these years. In fact, you've been doing it backwards.
Hmm.
Tell me more.
Yeah.
They said, you're too quick to hire people because you see potential in them. Then you find out after they've started working for you, they've got problems. And so then you feel like you've got to help fix those problems.
Yeah.
And you keep working on them. You keep giving them passes. You keep giving them, okay, well, hey, they probably didn't mean it that way. And
Yeah.
yeah, I know that we have a Monday morning problem with a certain person who may have done a little too much imbibing over the weekend. They said, then you waste so much time and money trying to fix
Yep.
them.
Yep.
And it always works out the same way. They always wind up not working for you because you can't take it anymore, right?
Yep.
And they said, so what you do wrong is you hire fast, fire slow.
Yep.
And ADP is there telling me what you need to do is hire slow and fire fast.
Yep.
Okay, so that was just a few years ago. And I'm like, well, then what have I been doing? Look at all the time and money I've wasted
Yeah.
20 plus years.
Yeah. We don't even want to
It
count that,
hurts.
right? Because it's
It
it's so
hurts
yeah, it's so
to think
big.
about it. So what I learned is you should really build for any hire you have, you should build a terribly detailed, aggravating, long process to do it. And then the second you find out that they're not working out, you walk them to the door, and the sooner the better.
Yeah.
But I always felt like that would make me like this terrible boss that's trigger happy, whatever. So there we go, worried about
Yeah.
what everybody is going to
Yeah.
say about
Yeah.
me. Well,
Well,
guess what? Everybody that doesn't work for you anymore says bad things about you.
and
And
within that hire slow, fire fast, right? There's a best practice process and
sure,
methodology, right? Like as long as we can look ourselves in the mirror and say, I've
of
set them
course.
up for success, but they're choosing not to be successful, then that's on them, right?
And I like a lot of, like, one of the things I take pride in myself is I can get along with all different kinds of people. So I like different personalities.
Yeah.
So it's never been a personality problem. In fact, I probably made them feel so secure early in the cycle that they could just feel like they could just misbehave
Yes.
outwardly and openly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes you just go, what did I do wrong? Well, maybe I wasn't enough of a boss to them because I get along with people and it's like, oh, well, I'm just like your friend that you work for.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I could just take a club to my own head. So that was a huge lesson because I've always struggled with um, having people work for me. And then I have had a consultant one time many years ago, probably about 20 years ago, that came in for a while. And I was, okay, what problem are we going to solve? Well, I can't get person XYZ to do his job and keep telling him how to do it. And then he just won't do it. Some days he does, some days he doesn't. He says, okay, do you have a written process for that job? Oh, well, no. And if you had a process, do you sit down with them and make sure they're following it? And do you check in once in a while?
Yep.
Nope. To all that, he said, then you have zero right to complain about that person's performance.
Right.
So that was a mentor coachable situation
Yeah.
that has really stuck with me because I believe we should all wear a shirt that says, it's all my fault. And no matter what's happened to me in life, I like to break it down and go all the way back to, did I miss red flags?
Yeah.
Did I ignore advice?
Yeah.
Did I just do what I wanted to do in spite of the potential danger of it?
Yeah.
And even relationships that went bad,
Sure.
um, it's like, okay, so what did I do in the beginning? It's like, I really don't like to hear people complain about their spouses. You married them.
Yeah, yeah, right. So, John, last question here. Uh, y- Jim Rohn's one of his famous quotes is, "We become the average of the five people we spend the most time with." So, who are the three or five people that you're most grateful for them being part of the business's growth and success that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Um, Number one would have to be my wife, April. It
Mhm.
would have to be number one. And ever since I've met her, deep down inside, I just wanted to be the person she deserves and
Mm,
um, do my very best on a regular basis. My kids, of course,
mm.
um, but I really love the people I work with now too.
Yeah.
So they're the people I'm around. But
Yeah.
I went through a phase where the whole work hard and play hard, and boy, you could just go back in time, just slap that living daylights out of yourself because you're burning the candle at both ends.
All right.
And that is, it may seem like it makes sense and it works until it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you may, like myself, may have acquired a few unsavory friends that uh, you look at yourself one day and go, I'm done.
Mm.
I'm done. This is like having fun, but I would rather have less fun and be more happy.
Mm, yeah.
So fun is those things you go out and do. Happy is a constant state of mind.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever really felt joy was holding my babies when they were born.
Ah.
That feeling that comes over you, I would call that joy.
Sure. Yeah.
And joy and happiness is what we're after. Then we have to have discipline in our lives. And
Absolutely.
I did eliminate a lot of people out of my life. Um, there's no point in needing a friend if the friend's going to suck your resources, your time,
Yeah.
and you're trying to solve their problems all the time. And then one day you wake up and you go, I think I'm being taken advantage of, and then but I have the power to stop that. But I listen to I was this morning, Jim Rohn videos, and a lot of them have been repurposed
Yeah.
and kind of but I don't care. They're still him.
Yeah.
Nightingale, um, there's just so many of them that sometimes you just want to listen to music or whatever, and you think, but how's that going to help me be better at what I do? So I'm, and I also believe that whenever you read just a few pages of a book or listen to a video like that, you're allowing good influence to
Yes.
rewire your brain.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
And you get a ton of good ideas from it, but sometimes you just don't want to.
It actually, there's been studies that it shows it goes to your subconscious, and your subconscious is working 24/7, right? That's why sometimes we go to bed with a challenge or a problem, and we wake up in the morning with an answer, right? Or sometimes we wake up in the middle of the night with the answer. It's because our subconscious has been processing that and working it out on our behalf. So yeah,
Yeah.
the
I
more
lost a lot of
information you
sleep.
put in there.
I lost a lot of sleep last night worrying about this interview.
Well, how has it been?
Oh, I love it. It's been great.
Awesome.
I'm sorry I probably talked too much, but
So, John, we're going to wrap up here, but before
alrighty.
we do, it sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible people throughout your journey. So, if they were all here today, what would you want to say to them?
I would just say thank you for trusting me with this part of their lives
Hmm.
because another lesson I really learned in life is you have to be what you want to attract.
Yeah.
And those are easy words to say, but you have to sit down at a cellular level and really, they call it meditation or whatever, but really just sit with yourself and sit with your
Mhm.
thoughts and say, whatever I'm allowing myself to be right now is what I'm going to attract more
Yes.
of.
Yes.
And that's why we need the constant learning, the constant help,
Yeah.
mentors, coaches, books, whatever. We need that because we don't know everything.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
uh, E-Myth taught me that we're technicians that started a business.
Yeah.
But are we business people? No, we didn't go out in a truck and learn how to run a business. We went out in a truck and learned a technician's job. And then now we started our own business and we went from having this jerk that we didn't like for a boss to having ourselves for a boss, and it may actually be worse. So I really felt like, boy, for me to make it, I'm going to have to
Yeah.
learn everything that I did not know when I started this, and I thought I knew everything, and I thought I was going to be just fine.
Yeah.
I thought I would be where I'm at today in 5 years. I did. It took me 5 years to get out of my apartment. And I
I like
installed
what
graphics and I need a shop to install them in, and I didn't even have that for 5 years.
I like what you just said about, the knowledge and the technician versus business owner, right? One of the Action Coach vision. So, for those listening, it's a franchise, but
Mhm.
it's world abundance through business re-education. And the idea is that the school system teaches us how to be technicians, right? It teaches us how
That's
to be
right.
employees. We're not never prepared well to be a business owner. So for those who are going to be successful at it, they do have to re-educate themselves on how to be a great business owner. Because as you've been saying multiple times, right? How to be a great business owner is extremely different from how to be a great technician, right?
Two different worlds.
Yeah.
They almost don't even overlap.
Yeah. Yeah. Yet
It's
most of us,
it's
right, we all
discouraging.
start as solopreneurs, right, as buying ourselves a job, as being a technician, because that's where you have to start in most
Hmm.
cases, right?
Hmm.
And then we do the hustle and grind to figure things out and get stuff working, and then usually, right, the majority of those companies get stuck because they don't have the knowledge, skills, or the willingness, like you did, the proactiveness to go out and learn, right, how to transition from technician to business owner.
And
So,
I've had plenty of help from those authors and those mentors. Um, uh, there's a older gentleman that I met through uh, Ron, and uh, he really took a lot of time to help mentor me too.
yeah,
There was another one when in the 90s that had taken two companies to the stock market
yeah,
that were struggling. And he was working on his third, and I was doing graphics for them. And he took me to lunch and he goes, I want to tell you some things you're doing wrong.
that's awesome. Wow.
And I listened, and I'll never forget that conversation. So if we've made it to any distance, we've had to have had help from somebody. And uh, it's hard to thank everybody, in a setting like this. But I can say that if you start your own business, you're going to struggle and it's going to be painful. And when people ask me, what advice would you give me to start my own business? I don't know what to say exactly, except I just look at them and I say, what are you willing to give up?
Mm,
And they're like, well, what do you mean give up? I mean, sacrifice. You're going to sacrifice something. What are you willing to sacrifice? And they're like, what do you mean exactly? I said, do you think you're going to start your own business and work 40 hours a week and
yeah,
have a
right.
work-life balance? And
Yeah.
almost all of them say, yeah, I
Yeah.
do believe that's what I'm going to have. And I said, then you're already failing. You're going to fail. And you should just find the best paying job as a technician that you can get and be happy with that.
There's this to your point, the three things that I hear the most of why businesses went into business for themselves, right, or business owners is they wanted freedom, flexibility, and wealth. And then the majority of them tell me, but now I'm working more than I did when I was an employee. I'm making less per hour than I did when I was an
Yeah,
employee, and I have right, and I'm not generating wealth. Now, the good news is it doesn't have to stay like that, right? And that's the myth
exactly.
is an example, right? There's lots of different books and seminars and courses that you can go, but the idea is, right, you have to transition from, right, the hustle and grind to scaling principles, right, and best practices of how to
Yeah.
build and grow an amazing business. And
You're
it is
going to.
possible. Lots of people do it. It's just it's not easy, to your point, right? It
You're
takes,
going to the hard way or the easy way, but you will eventually have to get to those levels.
yeah.
The easy way is with help, the hard way is on your own.
Amen to that.
But it will happen one way or the other. You're going to have to do it, or you're going to build something that will crumble,
Yeah.
that will fail anyway.
And here's a stat to reinforce that. 9% of businesses, only 9% of businesses ever make it to a million. Less than 1% ever make it to five. because what the hustle and grind is not sustainable. So though a lot of business owners fail out, they burn out, right? They
Hmm.
can't maintain that work ethic, and they aren't willing to learn how to shift from work hard and long to work smarter. Well, John, it has been a pleasure having you on the show today. Thanks so much for sharing your story and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.